Welcome, everybody, to the First Spiritual Church of Prayer. We're going to open with prayer. We thank Thee, Infinite Intelligence, for allowing us to come together, for our lights to be joined, to become a beacon to shine and call to those who are looking for something different, for something that appeals to them. Allow them to follow this light to us, for this is God's house. And may we who come here not only find out about God, but find God. May there be beauty in this place. Especially may it be a place where men and women become aware of the beauty in themselves. May this be a place of worship. May this be a place of instruction. May this be a place of singing. And may this be a place of prayer. And for us who worship and take instruction and sing and pray, may this always be a place of inner stillness, where we may listen and hear when God speaks. May whoever ministers here minister in love. May whoever teaches here teach truth. May whoever serves here serve pleasantly. May everyone come into this house in expectation and go with thanksgiving. And may anyone who comes needing help go feeling blessed. May this be such a house that Jesus Christ or any stranger, even one of the least, would feel in it that they were with friends. Amen, and blessings to all. And now, our speaker is Reverend Thomas. I am sure he's going to have something wonderful to share with us, to give us something to think about and encourage us to share.
Thank you, Reverend Philip. Divine Creator, Father, Mother God, we come before you once again with open hearts and open minds, seeking thy divine wisdom and guidance in our lives. May that which comes through your speaker this day be for the highest and best good of each one hearing this message. Amen and amen. Good morning, once again. As I was looking for inspiration for today's message, I was led to something that I had written 3 years ago. At times, I'll be, or I have had times, let me say, where the same time every morning I'm awakened early. And this was happened to be 5:03 or something in the morning. It seemed to be pretty consistent, but it was around 5 in the morning. And on the mornings that I actually succumbed to that and got up and made a cup of coffee and sat quietly with a notebook and a pencil or a pen, I would be inspired to write something. And in those moments, it would kind of flow, in the good moments anyway. And so anyway, I came across this one from March 7th, 2018. And I thought it might be a basis for discussion today. So I was led to this, and so I will share it. We'll do this in a couple of parts. I'll read some of what is written, and then we'll have a discussion, and then we'll do the second part. The title is Introspection, a tool for personal transformation. Introspection is a path of no return once chosen. One does not begin to examine one's life path and then never again. One cannot help but return again and again to this well of memories. A dream or remembrance out of the blue will stir the waters of that well, causing us once more to peer into it to see what the ripples reveal this time. Each visit is a new perspective as we change and grow. Change and growth are hallmarks of times when introspection happens. Introspection is an observational exercise different from simple remembrance and guilt. Our higher self observes with judgment, but not condemnation. The value of lessons learned is not realized while we are beating ourselves. Self-flagellation may well be a stage on the path towards introspection, but true introspection will not happen until we are finished with blame and punishment. To be in a place of clear introspection, the path is cleared by other stages. One significant one is making amends. This is step 9 in 12-step recovery programs, which is a spiritual program that works for incurable addictions. It is necessary to attempt a correction so long as it brings no further harm. Some amends will happen only privately in our heart and soul when physical amend is not possible or practical. However, the energy and effect of this happens even if unknown to us and should not be underestimated. It can be quite powerful and profound. The patterns and interdependence of all life are complex. All that we do and fail to do has an effect. This can be a crushing realization, but one we must come to accept for perspective. Taking on full responsibility for all our life path experiences also requires our acceptance of this same responsibility for others. I personally have come to a place of self-forgiveness by accepting that I did the best I could at the time with what I knew, and I would have done better had I known better. Apply this to self and to others, and the fruits of forgiveness appear. We then see things in a kinder way, and condemnation becomes not only unnecessary, but unthinkable. I forgive myself for being less than perfect. I apply this thought to my parents and myself as parent. I apply it to myself as a spouse, lover, friend, and to my spouse, lover, friend. I apply it everywhere emotional pain has happened, whether I caused or received the pain. It is enough justification to not want this for anyone ever again, to simply not want this as part of a world we would choose. What would the world look like if everyone acted as I have in the past? What would it be like if everyone acted as I do now? Now, time for our discussion.
That was very powerful, Reverend Thomas. I'm just covered in goose flesh. I can just feel it tingling all over that. And so thank you for that wisdom.
Well, I guess it was the right message today. Getting tingles myself. It happens when I listen. I'm glad you can't experience a parade of animals in and out of here that's going on around me. It would be distracting. Anyone else?
I think maybe you're right that today it was relevant today for everybody, and myself too, just listening to those words and kind of applying it to some of my own situations too in the last few months. It just kind of hit home, really did. Yeah, and thank you for bringing, yeah. I wouldn't mind, I almost wouldn't mind having a copy of some of that to reread.
I have planned for that, and I was going to ask anyone that wanted a copy. I'll email it out.
Yeah,
So
it'd be good. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, when I think of topics like that, introspection, you know, I always find comfort when I come to the conclusion that all is as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just that little bit of phrase there, that small phrase, when my brain did its thing so many years ago, I was reading writings about Buddhism. I forget which one I was reading at the time, but what it was saying to me was that the universe is never out of balance. It's never out of whack. It's never chaotic. It just flows. And through that flow, you know, all things are as they should be. And it's when we attempt to interfere with that flow for whatever reason, then it's not that we've changed the flow. We've created a small eddy, but the flow seems to correct itself. I believe Reverend Thomas made the comment some time ago about someone who believed they had rescued a spider from some watery grave or something, and only to discover that through that rescue, it set things in a way that were no longer conducive. And they actually corrected themselves, whether, I don't recall if the spider died or whatever, but you know, nature has a wonderful habit of self-correction. And I draw confidence in that, knowing that if I make a mistake today or tomorrow, it's going to correct itself, whether through what I do or what someone else has done, because I see the mistakes I made in the past and I see how they've worked themselves out in whatever form that happens to be there.
One of the ways I like to look at it is that is embracing the idea of evolution and observing that in the design of creation is such that there is a growth, a movement forward, and it is an evolutionary process, and it takes place as the scientists observe and discover it. In some sense, there's some randomness about it, but the end result is things move forward and adjust to change, and that the important part for us to understand is that we are part of that evolutionary process, and we're to this point of being sentient, being self-aware, and that we have the capacity to work with this evolutionary process. That is probably the key thing that is unique about human beings, is that we can actually work and accelerate, at least in a personal sense, and firstly, and then we are contributing to the evolution of all. And as spiritualists, and as spiritual people, we may see that evolution as becoming more enlightened, becoming more peaceful, becoming more loving, becoming more caring, becoming more aware and connected in spirit. And but in our steps towards that are most powerful when we understand that we're working with the evolutionary forces that we often call natural law. Any other comments or questions?
I put this little saying up on our marquee. I think it was last month. Anyway, it draws from Andrew Jackson Davis, and it goes like this: nature conspires towards harmony. Join the conspiracy. And the idea with that is exactly what you just said: learning to work with nature, whether you call it the natural laws, the natural principles, whatever. But when you learn to work with those, the experience can be so much more rewarding. I like that word, rewarding. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's a good word. Well, that's a good segue into the second half of this. Introspection is a tool of awakening. As the name suggests, we awaken from a place of being unaware to a place of becoming aware. We open our eyes to see what keeping them closed has denied us. Introspection is an examination, much like discerning the message from a dream. We must discern the message to have a greater understanding from our life experience. There is wisdom to be gained once full understanding is found. Becoming aware of our true motivation and the consequences, but also the unintended consequences, is a bitter pill at first. Forgiveness brings us past the bitterness to a place of understanding. If we are not here to learn from our mistakes, then little about human life makes sense. Our significance to the world, the greater whole, is not only different than we think, but far greater too. I once imagined or had a vision that whenever I spoke God's name in condemnation, that a vibration went out, growing stronger as it went, to eventually destroy a planet, an inhabited planet. This shocking experience corrected my vulgar and bad habit. And whether the vision was symbolic or literal, it's a demonstration of the impact we each have on creation. We can go mad considering all the what ifs, We will never know the outcome or even the most seemingly insignificant change to our past might make. We might all think many things would be better if only I had done something different. What I have come to accept is that the only conclusion is that if I change anything in my past, I would not be here as I am now. Would all things I hold dear be better? My peace in this moment requires coming to terms with my life choices, my life path, just as it was, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. Comments, anyone?
Well, would anyone choose to change anything in their past?
No way. Not a chance. Even the bad stuff. It made me who I am today, and I like that.
Good place to be.
Good answer. Well, I'd go around and ask everyone else, but I don't know if we could top that.
Well said, Heather.
Do I win the door prize?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. I remember when I was in one of the classes for certification for the Independent Spiritualist Association. And one of the questions that the instructor asked was exactly what Reverend Thomas had proposed. You know, is there anything in your, would you live your life different? And as the instructor went around the room, each one, you know, they had these comments to make about their past. And at the time I was going through a deep struggle with the first person I was married to, because my parents had divorced, and divorce was, to me at that time, it was not even a last resort. Of course, we know how that worked. But anyway, I mean, even then at that time, my response was the same as Heather's. I would not change anything in my past. And for the very same reason, because without those screw ups, I would not be where I am at today, or even then when the question was posed. And believe me, I didn't want to be where I was at when the question was posed. But somehow I knew it was something I had to move through.
As bad as it is, it could always be worse.
And
we like to think it would be better, but that's a two-way street. All right. Then let me close with the last two sentences of this writing. Only this moment is the one I can change, can do better, can be more loving and accepting. This moment is possible only by the steps I took to get here. All of the steps. thank you for allowing me to share today.
Thank you, Reverend Thomas. Wonderful talk. Wonderful talk.